I'm Sylvia Worsham. I'm an empowerment coach, sales master trainer, and keynote speaker. Welcome to Focus Fridays. Today's focus is who are my champions of my products or services, and how can I identify who those champions are? It was a question that was asked of me after I gave my talk, Leading with Awareness, Rubber Bands, and the letter P times 3. It's a sales talk where I discussed how I turned an underperforming territory to the number one territory in the Western region, and number 2 out of 364 reps for Pfizer Pharmaceuticals in 2008. So who were my champions and how did I identify them? And every industry has them. You don't even have to be in healthcare sales like I was at the time. You've got to ask yourself one question. Who is my target audience? And once you come up with that answer, then ask the follow-up question. Who is their target audience? So at first glance, when I came into my territory and I was tasked with providing services and products to hospital accounts, at first glance, it's the hospital account. But then I asked myself the question of who is their target audience? And I came up with 2 answers. Hospitals have 2 customers, the patients and the doctors. Without the doctors, there are no patients in hospitals, and without patients, the hospital doesn't make a profit. It doesn't turn a profit. So when I looked at it from that perspective, I then asked myself a very critical question. Who influences those customers? So I'm just going to take the doctors as an example to give you an idea of how to work in your industry and how to start asking yourself those critical questions to get to identify who that target audience is that you will be forming strategic alliances with and collaborating with, partnering with, in essence, to impact your product sales or your service sales. So I came up with 4 answers. Who impacted my doctors, my nurses, my chief financial officers, my clinical pharmacists, and my case managers? They all impacted and influenced my 2 target audiences, the doctors and the patients. So strategy 1 is identifying who influences your target audience. That's strategy 1. So think about it in your industry. If you are in real estate or you are a financial advisor, you're at first glance, the customer could be a company, it could be a CEO, it could be HR, it could be any number of people. It could be just the customer, the individual customer, and who has the influence over them. So for example, if you're dealing with someone like me and you're trying to bring me on board and trying to sell me an IRA, who has influence over my decisions? And you need to identify those people around me. And the high likelihood, it will be my husband. So you'll have to get on my husband's good side to be able to sell me an IRA. To give you an idea. Secondly, strategy number 2 is come prepared. Come prepared with a series of questions to uncover the needs and the challenges that these groups face on a daily basis. Because sales is about others. It's not about you at all. It's about adding value to others. And it's a courtship you're having with your customers. With every person that you're touching, you're having a rapport with, and you are adding value to them on a daily basis. So remember that. Come prepared. Have a series of questions that you'll ask them to uncover those needs and those challenges that they face. And the final strategy that I'll leave you with today is understand the role that each player plays. So for example, if I were to look at my case managers, what was their role on a daily basis? Now, case managers, if you don't know who they are the people that follow you from the moment you step into the hospital to the moment you transition out of the hospital to home. They are the individuals that floor to floor, they follow your case and they understand all the things that are happening to you as you're in the hospital. And I was in the hospital in 2012, so I had several case managers, depending on the floor that I'm in. So they're tasked with making the transition as smooth as possible. So having that information already and understanding that role, it was easier for me to position my product or service versus my competitor. And in turn, by doing all the right things and always thinking of others and adding value to others first, I, in essence, created champions. They converted to becoming my champions. Even when I wasn't in the accounts, they sold for me because they highly believed in my products or services. On the next Focus Fridays, I will dive deeper into the following strategies that I had in order to convert them from being just customers to champions. Until then, I love you guys. Have a wonderful week.